Hi there, LinkedIn members and YouTube members. Great to be here and hope you're enjoying everything we're doing on this Friday morning session. Please notice I've changed the title from Lodestone Q&A to Embodiment Q&A because people are so curious about embodiment. So I want to attract more people to learn what it really is. Anyway, let's get started. Our topic today is a huge topic. I really had trouble choosing things to make my voiceless video with, my voiceless presentation. It's a massive topic. But anyway, this presentation will just introduce the topic gently from a perspective. And then my lovely guests are here waiting backstage, so we'll get started and get talking, get the wisdom coming out. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. Just give me 1 second. So thank you so much for tolerating a silent video. I do this because I want to include everybody, ADHD sufferers, hearing impaired, and so on. So it's become a bit of a tradition, really. Well, I can see we've got lots of comments here, which I'll just answer before I bring my lovely guests on. Yeah, I've got Dixon here, who has been following me recently. Thank you, Dixon, so much for joining us. Oh, he says he can't hear anything. Oh, oh dear. Oh no, it's the, don't worry, Dixon, it's the voiceless video. I'm sure you know if you can. And good. And Dietesh is here with us too. And yes, Dixon says now I can hear. Yes, Dixon, the video, the presentation is silent, apart from a little bit of music with the video. Okay, so it should be okay now, I think, I hope. Everything's okay here. Anyway, let me know if it's not. Okay, so without more ado, let me bring my lovely guests onto the stage. And here's, first of all, Ebby Sheila. Ebby Sheila, hi there, good day. And here's Dr. Jamusi. Hi there. Oh, looking very, very glamorous. Lovely. And Ebby, you look so lovely with the sunlight on your head. Wow, very nice. Good. Well, it's very dark here, so I haven't got any sunlight. Just got artificial lights, but it's okay. Okay, so let's get started. I wrote some questions about tolerance for you. And the first one was, when you hear the word tolerance, what happens in your body first, not your mind? And I can tell you what happens to me, because this word is very ancient. As you know, it originally means to carry something that is difficult or heavy, or that kind of inference from the Latin. And that's exactly what I feel when I hear the word tolerance, or I say it. I feel it's a very heavy word, and I can really feel it in my chest. And then as I start to explain how tolerance works and what a wonderful skill it is to be tolerant, that heaviness is lifted. What about you, Dr. Jamusi? What do you feel when you hear this word tolerance?
Very similar to your second point, because when I hear tolerance, I have so much empathy and so much respect for the one who is being tolerant. Tolerance is being so brave. As you put it, it's a wonderful skill. Because tolerance is indeed, as we started touching upon this, is accepting what you normally do not accept or not necessarily accept. So tolerance is out of empathy, compassion, respect for the other, fairness, reciprocity. All these are great values that let go any prejudice or any dislike for something or any intolerance for something, and you go towards the other with tolerance, with acceptance, saying, we don't mind, I don't mind, let's still connect and let's still be together. That's how I feel it, extremely positively.
Yes, I agree. It is extremely positive, but I think it's heavy because I know there are so many intolerant people in the world. And that makes this world a really difficult place for many people to live and thrive and be truly happy. And so, yes, my mission has always been to engender tolerance in other people. But it's a massive mission to try to make people aware of tolerance. And all around us, we can see intolerance all the time, really. So it's become a heaviness for me. But when I start to talk to people about it and see their lovely smiles and so on, then it lightens up. And yes, I agree. It's a very courageous thing to be, and a great skill to have. Ebi Sheila, what about you?
Yeah.
We're looking very pensive.
Yeah, as you said, as you start to talk to people, and I find that we have a perception that most people are intolerant. I'm not quite sure if that's really true, because I personally believe in self, and personally I believe everything begins with self. So in this world that we live, unfortunately, it's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be two sides. So where there's light, there must be darkness. Where there's good, there must be bad. It's part of it, because it's part of our growth and part of our learning. And so I believe it begins with me. And one thing, when I hear the word tolerance, the first thing I start to do and I start to feel is what's going on inside me.
Tell us, do.
If I'm seeing a lot of intolerance, am I intolerant? Why am I seeing so much intolerance around me? Is that what's going on with me? Because I strongly believe, and I've tried this out several times, that the world is our mirror. And if we're seeing a lot around us, what is going on inside? And so I start to look and I start to examine. And like you said, you feel the intolerance, like it's quite heavy in the chest when you hear the word intolerance. But like you said, as you start to speak to people, you find out that it's probably different. And if I'm feeling heavy, then what's with me? If I'm feeling light, then it's kind of, I'm feeling like joy and peace and happiness and knowing that it's all calm. I've learned to accept in the last 5 years, just because I've been more focused on my inner body, that what I see, what I'm getting is what I'm seeing. Or what I'm getting is a lesson for me to grow. So if I'm getting a lot of intolerance, there's something I need to improve in myself, to be able to get it. So my body is my indication of my growth, because what anybody else is doing is not my business. And I think in the world we focus on other people too much. So people are intolerant. That's not my business. If people are intolerant, my business is, am I intolerant?
That's commendable. Wonderful, wonderful.
You cannot do, no matter how hard you try, you can't do anything about somebody else. The only person you have influence on is yourself. And I think that as we start to change, it ripples out. So if we're seeing a lot of intolerance, we're part of the problem. If I'm seeing a lot of intolerance, I'm part of the problem. And to change the world, I need to change me.
Wonderful
idea. But I've been doing this I've been testing it out for probably at least more than 5 years, I've been really testing it out, each situation. And I'm still testing it out. And this week I had a really bad experience, and I felt like really being angry with the person. But I went inside and I kind of, and I felt that I wasn't, so therefore I have progressed in some way, because in the past I've been saying very negative things about the person. But I don't know.
Oh, wonderful. Well, that's superb, because heaviness about it is the media again. The media hype, which I just close out, because it's just so heavy, but yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, it's so true. The world is our mirror, and yes, in fact, I don't see intolerance around me much at all. Physically. I see it at a distance on the media, and that really sometimes really bothers me, you know, that media companies dwell upon all this and highlight it and so on. I know we can't do anything about it. No, but
Yes,
it's
you
just,
can. You can do what you can do is do something on yourself. That's
yeah,
what you can do.
switch out. Well, yes, that's what I do anyway. But yeah, that's why I think for me. But yes, generally in Japan, people are really very tolerant. But the problem with that, and this may be something we can discuss, is here in Japan we have hon-e and tatemae. I don't know if you know these terms. Hon is where you are very very publicly oriented. You know, you're showing off, really. Japanese people love to show off. It's true. But behind that, there's something much more sinister going on, quite a lot of critical stuff going on very often. And so, because people are so private here, it's quite difficult to get into a situation where you're sure they're being transparent with you. I'm in that position now, but I came, it's quite difficult because people display this, you know, stuff, and you, if you're transparent yourself, as you said, Abby, you know, the world is a reflection, then you take it as being honest. But in Japan, it's not. It's often not very honest, and so you have to get to know people, and then you can see the real transparent thing. And that's just the way the society is structured. And you know, it's sometimes quite, can I say, quite disturbing, as you can imagine, you know, to not have transparency all around. But yeah, I agree that the world is our mirror, and we have this incredible opportunity. As I said in my presentation, every interaction is an opportunity for spiritual tolerance. Every interaction, you know, and I think that's a really good way to see it, that every moment is new, every moment has new possibilities, and yeah, tolerance is one of those incredible human qualities that we can exercise all the time. So yeah. Great. So we've got now a really good kind of feeling about this word, or how we feel about it. But then another question was, how does your cultural background, because last week we were talking about culture and you know, adapting to different cultures, and I've started the ball rolling again by talking about Japan, which is one of the, some people say one of the biggest challenges for a foreigner to live is living in Japan. So yeah, how does your cultural background shape what you consider as tolerable or intolerable? Muiba, do you want to start one off?
I would like to just say how much I agree with everything you, Lyndon, and you, Abby, said. Entirely agree. At a personal level, I entirely agree with Abby that if you want the people who are here around, you are connected to, you are interacting with, to be tolerant, look into yourself. I absolutely agree. And
Yeah.
that is my tool. Somebody is intolerant, I say, let me check my own tolerance. And this is why I admire tolerance. I truly believe that those people who focus on themselves to create more tolerance, this is why I call them so brave, because they don't look for it elsewhere, they look for it inside themselves. And I'm going through this myself, living with a family. We do not belong exactly to the same culture or the same whatever. At the same time, I started being in heaven here when I stopped questioning any of their cultural values, of their cultural habits, stopped altogether and said, let me look inside me to accept them 100% for who they are, their culture is, their way of life is. And here I entirely agree with Abby. Looking for tolerance in me has created even greater tolerance in them. And tolerance, I always go to tolerance, which is a great effort. This is why Lyndon spoke of something you carry which is heavy. Tolerance is not easy because it means you are practically saying stop to any prejudice, to any way of evaluating, assessing the other. Don't assess, accept, go towards the other and meet them where they are. So that's my first point, which I would like once again to stress. Now, expect tolerance in the other is a great value. And use tolerance as a defense against intolerance. When someone is intolerant, your tolerance, your accepting of the other is automatically to create tolerance in the other.
Yes.
Now, going to cultural tolerance. Here, I love to have reciprocity. Just as, and here I'm going out of the personal, I'm going to a wider context. When I hear anyone talking negatively about another language, another culture, another religion, I automatically stand for a cause. And it becomes a cause for me. That is the difference between focusing on the personal in my personal context. But I come from an academic background where I studied and taught history, studied and taught international relations. And so when in class somebody is having this sort of intolerance, I just challenge. Here it becomes a challenge. If somebody says historically, I say, prove it. And if you can't prove it historically, this is prejudice. And this is discrimination against people. And you are really looking down on another culture or another religion or another race or another whatever. So I call on tolerance in any discussion, and I call on respect towards the other in any discussion. Otherwise, if there is not this reciprocity, you tolerate other cultures, I tolerate other cultures, we can come together. But if you look down, I immediately, as a former academician, say, sorry, prove it. Historically incorrect. So knowledge, I use knowledge. As I said earlier, I use tolerance against intolerance in the personal. I use knowledge as a tool against intolerance, against my own culture, religion, language, and any other, by the way, any other. I would stand for any cause where there is unfairness because of intolerance. That's how I function.
Yes. So tolerance also has all sorts of tendrils for me, things like ethics, equity,
fairness.
Yeah. And so that's why it's such a vast topic. And this last week, in my midweek masterclass, our topic was ethical visibility. And this topic has really absorbed me this week, because when we start to look at what's happening on the internet, on the internet culture, if you like, in the internet culture, we can see that people are really putting out stuff onto the internet which is not genuine. And so the cry is authenticity, presence. This is what all people are saying, or we need authenticity even more now with the rise of AI. So this week I looked quite closely at the ethics of it. And I think for me, this applies to tolerance too, that tolerance is an ethical matter in my entire behavior and in my entire existence. And that, you know, true to what ethics are all about. That means that I'm tolerant even when nobody's looking. Because, you know, this is some people really kind of change horses, you know. So when nobody's looking, they're suddenly intolerant rather. But yeah, I was talking to a medical doctor who co-hosted with me on Wednesday, a Swedish doctor, and she is a stress manager, Dr. Sorensen. And she said, yes, you know, people just really manipulate these ethics. And, you know, a little bit like the Japanese idea, they have a public face about things, but then behind, I was going to say the bike shed, but that's a very English thing. Behind the scenes, they are intolerant. And the crux of this, and something that I feel is so important, and Abby touches on it each time we talk, is self-honesty. You know, you can't be tolerant across the board if you're not honest with yourself. And the problem in the world, I think, is that people don't know who they are. They don't have a connection with their authentic self. And so they can't possibly be ethically tolerant because they're not connected to who they are. And of course, if we do get connected, which is my work does, then we go back to our original nature, our true nature, if you like, or Buddha nature, as we call it in Buddhism. And that is pure and honest and innocent and untainted, usually, unless there's some kind of mental problem in the child or something. And so, yeah, if only people would realize that until they're really connected to who they are and they really know who they are, how can they really be honest with themselves? And therefore, their tolerance or intolerance is kind of irrelevant in a way because they're not being genuine. And it must be purgatory, really, I think, not to know who you are, not to know your real nature. We are snowed under by an avalanche of words, symbols, images, you know. But what's beneath those? This is my big thing. If we go beneath the words and the images and the notions and all of those things that are controlled up here, then what do we find? Yeah, we find the flesh and blood, we find the systems, we find the child, the pure child, how we all adore young things. I think every single human being adores a puppy or a kitten. It brings something out in humanity that really, I think, shouts very loudly of how this innocence, this goodness is what we crave, really. So
can I answer the question?
I'm sorry, I'm going on. I'm rattling. Sorry. Go on, Abby. You're dying. I know. Go on.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to clarify something. When I say it begins with you, I strongly believe that we are all one. So we are collective and one. So the only way to make a change is to make a change in you. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought because I had it all. But yeah, so I don't believe that you can change anybody. I strongly, from my experience, you
No,
cannot change anybody.
no.
You can only change yourself, and as you start to change yourself, you start to see the world around you change, and so they also change other people, and so everybody changes. In terms of your question, how does cultural background shape you to what you consider tolerable or not intolerable? I think everybody and all cultures naturally are intolerable. We just are. And that's why it needs to begin with self-awareness. You can't change somebody else if you are yourself that thing. And they think because we think we're right, it's just not, this is just natural. It's not that it's bad, it's just natural. And what helps with the change is the self-awareness that you are that thing that you're judging. And
Mm.
and yeah, we might go out trying to say to people, like, I mean, I've lived amongst different cultures and I've seen that basically everybody's the same. Um and so I have experienced people who are intolerable, but then it triggers me because I have something in me that's triggering me, because it shouldn't because it's not my business if they're intolerable, and it's not my business to try and change them. The only thing I can do is be a good example so they see that. Because when people don't know you, like if you're moving into a new culture, they'll criticize your culture because that's just normal. Everybody does that in some way or the other. And the only way they can know that you are not what they think you are is by the good example that you show them. So if people are saying, because you have to allow people to talk, and I think these days people don't allow people to talk. As soon as you start to talk, you're labeled. So you start to say something that you observe from your own paradigm. You call the names. You either call me racist. So people who are talking about my culture, they might not be talking about my race. They might be seeing something in my culture, which is what it usually is. They're seeing something in my culture they don't like, but I immediately think they're judging me because of my color. But I say, look around. There are people that have the same color with me, like with my children. And one of my sons was dated somebody from my culture, and it didn't work. I said, just because you're the same culture, so just because you're the same color, doesn't mean it's going to work. Because you're from different cultures, you've been born and brought up here. So your culture, even though originally you're from that culture, your culture is totally different because you've never lived in that culture. I think when people, I think sometimes we misplaced and we think that people are being judgmental, but they're just asking questions. They just want to understand. Sometimes the way they ask the question is probably not right, but if we're tolerable ourselves, it won't trigger us. So if somebody's coming to me and being aggressive, where some people might think it's because of my race, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it's because of what I'm showing them because of my behavior. Because the thing with behavior is the unlimited mind, isn't it? So we exhibit what's in our unlimited mind without really realizing, but other people can see it. And so we immediately jump to conclusions. So if somebody attacks me and I immediately think they're attacking me because of my color, I'm intolerable. Because without them saying I'm attacking you because of your color, I don't know if they're attacking me because of my color. I'm making an assumption that means I'm judgmental. I'm making an assumption they're attacking me because of my color or my religion. So that's why I say everything begins with you. And as you start to work on you, you become more tolerable, because I think intolerance is created by us as individuals, then as a collective. Because first of all, if somebody says something to me and I attack them and say, oh, you're being a racist, they get defensive. So that doesn't even help the situation with the problem they're having. If I'm defensive, oh, you're saying this because I'm black. And they might not be saying, Imagine, because again, people act from the subconscious. They might be saying it because of something that I have done that does not agree with where they're coming from or what they've been taught or their own paradigm. So it's a very complex thing, and I think the beginning of it is for us. And like when we see things that are on not agree with us, doesn't mean we're right too. If somebody is saying something and we say to them, "Oh, now you're being intolerable," that's just going to get them defensive. We need to understand why they're saying. That's why I say it begins with us. So part of our teaching is teaching ourselves to and learning from the other person.
Yes,
And it's complex. It's complex.
Totally agree. And just to kind of fill in a little missing part there, the body and the nervous system govern 95% of behavior.
Yep.
So there's very little we can do about it in many ways, unless we, practice mindfully or something like that. Unless we really do make inner changes, it's very, very difficult to change behavior. As we know with my story about the murderer, you remember that he had murdered five people viciously. I could see that his spirit was good and beautiful, really. So he couldn't control his behavior because the nervous system controls it. So to me, it's so incredibly hard to understand why people don't want to do this inner work.
Because they don't know. They don't know this fact that you just gave us.
Trapped. Yeah, they're trapped kind of here in a way. And that's why it's such a big mission, really, to try to get people to step away and to experience, because of course all of this is experiential. Really, to change inside, you've got to experience it. You can't follow a recipe. It's experiential. So yeah, some great points there. Dr. Muiba, what do you want to say? Lots.
Well, it's stages, really. I see it as stages. First, we start having the values against intolerance. The values are clear. It is curiosity against intolerance. It is transparency. It is knowledge. They are the values that truly shake intolerance. Because when people know nothing about you, they are likely to say, oh, you're a Muslim. Oh, I know it all. Oh my God, women are poor things. I say, I am no poor thing. Look at me. What's poor about me? No, because we know that. Oh, no. Let me correct. I'm not on a mission, no, but I am expected to correct anything that is incorrect. That is part of my upbringing. I was brought up as an academician, so there is. I don't refrain from. I don't go around telling people what to do or how to be, but helping change. I don't intend to change people, but help people change is another. That is definitely a coach's mission, to help people change. Some people come to you with questions. Some people come to you with questions about themselves. Some questions say, I'm intolerant. How can I get out of it? You help these people get out of it. But if somebody is intolerant, doesn't want to listen, that is his problem. There I go to, that is her problem.
Yes.
But if people want to know, and people are genuine, sometimes they come to you with a question. First reaction is transparency. Sorry, what do you mean? I didn't get your question. What is it exactly you're asking? And people then are genuine. They say, whatever the question is, it becomes a clear question. Then you encourage curiosity. If you don't understand something, ask. You know, what is, by the way, this about you? When people are transparent, they ask about something specific. You can also be transparent and say, make it a discussion, make it a nice tolerant discussion between people who don't know you, who don't understand you, and yourself. I go to who doesn't help. You were talking about, Lyndon was mentioning social media and how it's totally chaotic. What has helped social media now include anything and everything is the lack of transparency of official social media. These official social media should ask themselves about ethics. If we have theories all over the place, it means that our leaders, who should lead us with clarity, with authenticity, with fairness, are not doing their job. If
Mm.
anything, if
So good.
anything, they are messing it up. So when the people at the top are messing it up, when journalists, official journalists, people whose profession is journalism, are, if anything, if anything, telling us exactly what is not, well, we go into social media and we just find anything and everything there. So ethics is also fundamental for tolerance. Yeah.
Yes. 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 Wonderful. I think that these are the things that, for me, make this word so complicated and heavy in some ways. That we are human beings are so full of love, basically, and I really believe that we are full of love, but we are being led by people who are not as full
It's
as
a choice.
full of love. Well, it's a choice, but what do you mean? It's a choice to be
Yeah,
full of
yeah,
love.
yeah. What I mean by it's a choice, it's always a choice. I mean, you say the leaders, and I think this is where we have issues in the world because we're always looking on the outside, and everything comes to authenticity and comes to you because be in the eye of the storm. So the leaders, everybody's playing a part. They say, I don't know why these things happen. I don't know why they're leading us in the wrong way. But we don't have to buy into that. We don't have to, when it comes to the news, I don't listen a lot to the news because I have learned through the years that when they tell you something, usually say 180 degrees is the right thing through experience. So learning to listen to your body and your intuition, because as soon as you hear these things, because they're things that you just hear, they say it out there, you kind of know, that doesn't quite sound right. Because when you're working on who you are, you know, because intuitively we know our body is 95%, sorry, our unlimited mind is 95%. It knows the truth. If you're listening to your body, they say these things out there, you know, so you don't have to follow. And I think, like I say, like with my clients, I always start with self. So when they say this is happening, that's happening, that's happening, just forget what's happening. Forget your husband's doing this. Forget this. Don't worry about that. Just work on you. And as you start to work on you, it becomes clear whether you need to stay with that person, what you need to say to that person. You start to make those decisions yourselves because you're truly authentic. You're beginning to listen to your body, and your body will never lie. And it always remembers. I remember somebody was saying something to me about something. I can't even remember the real story. I wish I could. And the way they were saying, I thought, you see, your body remembers. You've forgotten what's happened to you, but it's coming up because your body remembers. So those emotions are coming up. You hear something from somewhere else, but those emotions are coming up because something's happened in the past, or maybe generational past, that your body is picking up on. So if you're very self-aware and you pick up on those signals, your body gives you the signals for what you need to do. So I hear something on the news, I know whether it's a lie, whether I need to follow because my body is telling me. And this is something I've only learned within the last 5 years. It's not
Oh.
something I've always known. And
Mm.
I keep testing it out. Last week I lost my phone and I dropped it somewhere. And my body was telling me it's there. I didn't listen and I left. And when I came back, my phone was gone. I was only gone. So it was another lesson for me to listen, because my body was telling me, this is it. This is where you dropped it. I was actually telling me the exact spot. And when I went to my other phone, I tracked it, and it was exactly where my body was telling me. But I doubted myself, and I left the environment. And so I lost. Somebody picked up the phone and has taken it for good. So I don't have that phone anymore. But you see, it's less for me to say you need to. And these are just small steps. But on a collective, if we all did that, which is why I like your work, Lyndon, because you're teaching people to listen to their bodies. And if I start to listen to my body, Dr. Mama listens to body, you listen to your body, then I'm affecting other people. So they start to get that message. And with time, hopefully, well, like I said, we live in a world where there will always be good and bad. We can't change that. That's just part of being here. So there will always be good and bad. But the thing is, your experience will be good if you're on the inside. And if you're always having bad experiences, what's happening inside? Or what do you need to change? Because I'm not saying it's your fault, but what do you need to change, and what lessons do you need to learn from those bad experiences? Rather than blame the external, which is what we do. Oh, that person's a racist. No, you can't do anything about them if they're racist. All you can do is show that you're not this way, so they can change by your kind words and your kindness. But if you start, people are very defensive. If you start to throw at them, they get defensive and want to protect, because we're tribal and they want to protect. They're scared. It's fear. It's fear that makes people be racist. It's fear that makes people be judgmental. It's just fear, because they're trying to protect themselves. So if we that really realize need to be kind and tolerant.
Well, absolutely. It's the fear that's the problem. And Dr. Sorensen was saying this as a medical practitioner. She said, many of my patients are utterly scared of life. And we talked about outsourcing and, you know, how people outsource to medics and to educators and so on. But they completely turn their backs on their intuitive and inner skills, their interoceptive skills and so on. And she said, yes, fear. We need fear. We need it to survive, you know, but people push it away instead of embracing it and learning how to make it your best friend. And I think this was really, from a medic, you know, this was a really lovely piece of advice. Same with stress. And we've talked about stress, haven't we? You know, your stress system is necessary, but we can learn to interpret it in a different way, a positive way, not a negative way. And so, yeah, I think fear for me is right at the center of most people's lives. And as coaches and mentors and so on, that's what I feel I have to deal with. How can I encourage this person to lower their fear level and just embrace it and, you know, let it be part of them rather than something they're constantly fighting against. You know, it comes back to the idea of friction. You know, I've talked about this before. If we live fighting things like our natural system, imagine you're fighting your human system, because you're not supposed
That's a
to be
negative
afraid.
word too.
Yeah.
You don't say, if you say, I don't want war, you're part of the problem. What you say is, I want peace, because the vibration of the word war is negative and it creates more war.
Yeah.
And that's what we always do. You know, I don't want war, I don't want war. But we're creating the war and we're creating the war. It's, I want peace, I want peace.
Yes,
Words are
absolutely,
powerful.
absolutely. Yeah, so absolutely are. And so, yeah, if we embrace that fear and acknowledge that it's part of us because it's our human bodies, like, you know, our state, if you like, then there's such a lot of relief when we let go of that idea. Sorry, muy bad, dozo. You've got lots of questions, comments. I know. Go
A
ahead.
lot, you are right, a lot. So I have to select and choose what to comment upon, what to respond to. I entirely agree that in our own discourse, we can, and this has been a decision I took 5 years ago when I started coaching, get rid of the not, get rid of anything that sounds negative. I entirely agree. Sometimes I correct my friends' emails. They say, please edit it for me. I say, first thing before I start editing, get rid of all the nots. I don't agree with you because of this. Why not say a nice sentence, say, what I agree upon with you is, and you are going to find acknowledgement, at least 10% that people agree upon, rather than go straight into what they do not agree upon. Here, I would like to stress how much I entirely agree with look into yourself. Reveal to yourself what yourself feels, knows. And that is stage number 1. Before you start talking about how your husband was violent, if you dig into yourself and say, what is it I need to change in me? How do I need to think so that nothing of this violence comes to me? That's stage number 1. Stage number 2 is a word that you have mentioned, Linton, and I entirely agree with, which is mission. If you have been able to stop anger in you or violence in you or whatever habit unacceptable, you consider unacceptable, going onto a mission to help other women, for instance, is fabulous. When you have a mission and tell women, don't accept violence, domestic violence, you can never get rid of it unless you say stop. You are helping other women because thanks to your experience, and Abby, I cherish personal experience. I cherish it also as well when you take stage 2 and say, I have been able to change myself. I am changing myself, refusing violence. Let me go out on a mission and tell other women how they can say, stop. I don't accept domestic violence. They would tell you, but how can we do this? Here comes your role. Here comes your role in coaching them, in mentoring them, in going on a mission, creating women's movements, women's. How do you think the world has changed? It is when one changes and changes, goes on a changing mission. Mandela changed, didn't keep it to himself. Mahatma Gandhi changed, didn't keep it to himself. He was not born a pacifist. Mandela was not born a great leader. You become, once you have changed, and I entirely agree with you, Abby, change is you change yourself first. But once you have had this treasure, which is helping others realize at least that they can change, that is a mission. Tell them you don't have to accept violence. No, you can have peace at home. This is a peaceful place for you. How can we do it? Here comes your mission. I have gone through it. I know what it is. Let me help you. And here you become that great person who not only has looked for change within you, which is number 1, which is basic. This is level 1. You from here go into helping others, level 2. From there, you are creating a whole movement that goes viral today, that can even go global. I have participated as a young student, and I must have said it once, in this global movement for peace. We used to say peace, make love, and not anything else, make peace. And we embarked from all over the world, saying no to war, go for peace. peace, peace, peace. And the slogans were not anti-war. The slogans were peace. That started with one. It always starts with one, by the way. And it goes to many, and it goes global. And that is, you know, I'm so proud to have been told by others how life should be, how the world should be. And it can be. It can be peaceful. We are led to believe, no. Our nature is horrible anyway. No. Put some kids together, you will see no horror. They will play and smile and be all excited. Have adults together, it's going to be conflict, nothing but conflict. So I believe in human nature as basically tolerant. Just let yourself be tolerant, as Abby says. Let yourself go on a mission, as Lyndon says. And the world would be then a better place to live in. For us, who would be better, as we often say in coaching, the best version of ourselves. We can also make the world a best version of itself. We need to.
Yes, and that's why we're here every Friday, isn't it?
It's my holiday, by the way. Lyndon, it's my holiday. It's my weekend. Friday is my weekend.
Yeah, there we are. It's wonderful, isn't it? Absolutely, that's great stuff.
It's worth it.
Yes, it is. It is. And we three are the same generation. We've lived through the peace movement and the activities after the Second World War and so on. We've lived through all that. And we continue.
We can't hear
towards
you,
people.
Better. When I lose Lyndon, I always look at Abby. Check that it's Lyndon, not me.
Yeah, it's
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it okay now?
Yes. Just frozen again.
Yeah. I always check with you, Abby.
Oh. Yeah, because it's not very stable. Is that better now? Can you hear?
Yes.
Yes, now yes.
Yes. Oh, I don't know what that was. Anyway, there we are. But yes, we have lived through this last century, and we have seen how the world has recovered, war and so on. And yeah, this is another big topic that we can't round off nicely. But I'd like to finish by saying that in the case of violence, it's a really simple universal rule that like attracts like. And this is an ancient law of the universe, which has always existed. And it's very much at the bottom of my work. How you are, as Abby said before, affects everybody around you. And so if you are cowering in fear because of violence, then everybody else is going to cower around you, you know. So to stand up and say, not doing this, then you're going to start emanating the right energy. And yes, we are each of us human magnets. Our spines are magnetite. We've got magnetite here. We've got it running up and down the spine. We've got magnetite everywhere. We are human magnets. So if we are emanating peace and love and happiness and kindness, then that's going to really attract those qualities in other people. And that's what I feel we can all do. I know we can do it through this embodiment work. Yeah. So any comment there? Sorry, I was hogging the last comment. Any quick comments?
Just a quick one. The New Zealand lady who was Prime Minister for quite a while, whom I admired every word she said. I'm sorry about her name, it's not an easy one to remember, but this lady is an extraordinary person. She must have worked on herself to be that formidable. I wish she would start movements in support of whatever. I would join her. So the importance of mission. First, once again, I agree with Abby. Look into yourself before you start looking out. Because if you don't, it doesn't work. Look into yourself. Bring out the best out of you and take it out to the world. And this lady, as I said, any movement she creates, I will be the first to go there. Because I believe in her as a person, as a thinker, as an extraordinary shining bright, and she could do so much to make the world a peaceful place, to make women become more confident, to make men become less violent. She shines like sunshine. That is what I would like for each one of us to be. Be
Wonderful.
whom we like to be and shine.
We are, we can, and we do. We are shining right
Okay,
now.
my closing thoughts is why my closing question for everyone is that why is it that all these things haven't worked, and why is it that it's getting worse? I believe in the work you're doing, and Lyndon, in terms of embodiment, and I strongly believe, because I've taken a back step from all those things, because like Einstein said, it's complete madness if we keep doing the same thing and there's no change.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. So we keep doing the same things and they don't change, because at the end of the day, people don't understand the 95%, 5% part of things. And people always think if I go out, so again, we're looking externally. If I go out and I do this, but it's not working. So if it's not working, we need to readdress that. And I think this work that you're doing, embodiment, because if you know who you are, it's all about authenticity. If you know who you are, you're showing that example. Even people who were, you start to find that, say for instance, you have a violent husband, and if you know who you are, he will either change when you start changing. So it's not about him, it's about you. He will either change when you start changing, or you will know that it's time to leave and you will leave. So either way, it can go either way. And that's what I worked with a client, and same thing I said, don't forget about him. I'm not saying he's right, forget about him. Just concentrate on you. And she got the clarity, and she knew what she had to do, her next steps, because he wasn't going to change, and she could see that he wasn't going to change. So that thing of saying, so I think I'm very strong about what you do, and I'm very passionate about what you do, which I'm just learning. And I think it's all about listening to the body as individuals, that as a collective, because it always has to start with you. You can't go and change outside if you haven't changed. It
No,
always has to start with you. So listen to your body.
absolutely.
And as you listen to your body, you start to share that with other people, not in an aggressive way and not in a I know it all way. You start to share because people see your example and how you act, and they start to say, okay, how is it that you don't get triggered by that? And I said, this is what I did. I listened to embodiment and I did ABC. So they learn. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
if I may add one thing, you have learned, you have helped these people who come to you change, and you are helping them realize change, you will stop any violence against you. The next step is just to make sure this violent husband doesn't go to other women and fool them and take their time and their life.
it's their
How do we
choice.
do this? No. It's their knowledge. It's their knowledge. I'll give an
Yeah.
It's their knowledge. You need to give knowledge. For instance, a lot of women say, I noticed he was violent, but I thought he will change after marriage. You go out and say, don't try to change husbands after marriage. They won't change. Change, don't accept violence. That is how it should be. So missions, without missions, I would like just to say something. You said we keep doing the same and nothing changes. We don't keep doing the same. We don't keep doing the same. And the world does change. This is why we go from war to peace. This is why we go from generation to generation. The new generation is saying, we have had enough about your wars. We have had nothing for the
but they're
last
still
30 years.
fighting.
Sorry?
They're saying it in words, but their actions are proving otherwise.
They are taking action in campuses, in streets, in demonstrations. And if you tell them this, they would be so sorry, so unhappy for having slept outside for months to say no to their own governments. And this, I think, is brave. I think that people who say, don't do this in my name, don't do this, you leaders and you fake journalists and you horrible warmongers, don't do this in my name. How brave these people are. I admire them. I applaud them. I wish them bad luck. They can put it aside and do it in a better way. Better way. So best wishes for the people who go on missions. I do
That's
feel
very
they are so brave.
encouraging. Yeah, that's really inspiring. And I don't want to stop, but we have to stop because it's weekend. And we've got some good comments here now from Dietesh. Dietesh, she or he says, make fear your best friend. Embrace it. Don't run away from it. Embrace in a positive way. So we've got some pretty comments there. Thank you, Dietesh and Dixon. Thanks so much for joining us. That's great. Okay, well, this has been, again, very interesting, inspiring. I'm inspired. I'm always inspired after this session. And I feel even more conviction about the work I'm doing, even though it's an uphill struggle in some ways. And so we've got to keep going.
That's why you're one of the pioneers, so it will take time. And yeah.
Great. Thanks, Ebby, so much for your constant support. Well, thanks both for your constant support. It's wonderful.
And remember, we are on a mission, aren't we? Otherwise, as Lyndon said, we wouldn't be here. We would be changing and staying at home.
That's right. We'd be sitting
at
home
on a mission.
swimming.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be coming here talking about our own change and how others can change.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Great. Let's finish there. Thank you both so much, as always. And we haven't had time to decide on the topic for next week, but if you get an idea, just DM me, and otherwise I'll go on to something that equates with next week's theme for me. Let me know if you've got any particular wishes. So thank you so much. Have a fabulous weekend, and keep going. Keep the fires burning. Don't let them go out. Don't let your fires go out. Okay. Okay, bye. Lots of love. Bye-bye. Bye. Wonderful. Thanks so much to Ebi Sheila Dietz-Spiff and Dr. Muiba Jamusi for joining us, as they always do on a Friday. And we always have brilliant discussions. And thanks to our visitors, Dixon, Nayakundi, and Dietish. Thanks so much for joining us. Notice that I have changed the name of this session. It's now Embodiment Q&A, not Lodestone Q&A, because embodiment is the thing everyone is so keen to learn about. And we're here every Friday. And if you would like to join us in the studio, please, you can apply. We'll put the link below this window. And yes, we'd love to have you. The more, the merrier. So without more ado, I will start my weekend. I hope you'll be starting yours too. And that you'll have a wonderful weekend, and you'll come back again next week. This is Lyndon Thorpe on Embodiment Q&A. And today we've been talking about, here it is, tolerance. Oh, we can't see the screen there. Just a moment. There we are. Tolerance. Okay, and I love this flyer that my lovely VA made for us. And yes, we are now called Embodiment Q&A. So thank you so much and see you next week. Bye for now.